Hey everybody, and welcome on back to Building with fWhip. Today we are back here in our amazing new farmland region. I am super excited to get to building in this area. We have shulker camp right here. I've been losing my shulker boxes all over the freaking place, so I've decided every single time I lay them out like this, placing a campfire down so we can just watch that fume of smoke and be able to easily find these ones. Last episode, however, we came through here and planted up every single one of these fields around us right here. If you missed that one, definitely be sure to go check it out. We did a bunch of work. We were able to get a bunch of stuff done, including some fields over here as well. We can do a quick fly over the top right here, seeing how crazy cool it looks and amazing and awesome and just all this stuff, and I absolutely love it. Every single one of these fields we're seeing behind us, that wheat field right there, is brand spanking new, and I'm super happy with all of it. Anyways, what we are going to be working on in today's episode is adding more detail and adding more life into this farmland region, because if we take a look from up here, it's looking very cool for being a farmland region, but I feel like there's a lot of areas that we could come in here and add some more detail. Mostly little areas like this where we have the in-between of the fields. It makes sense for a lot of grass to be down here, but we also want to be putting in some bushes, just some like crazy tall bushes that would be like hanging out over the tops of these things and maybe like drooping down into the fields a little bit, and it's like not super contained. We want to make this look very lush and very natural, and like there's a lot of different things happening around this area. So what we've been using in the farmland region so far is some spruce trees with some birch leaves just mixed together, and I think it's given ourselves a really cool touch in here. So I want to continue that type of a bush detail going around the rest of this vicinity, but even just adding like the two along in here like that is perfect. Then we have these natural areas in here where we can maybe throw in some trees, adding some more things, because last time we did bring in all these peonies and grass and stuff around the vicinity, but I want to go ahead and add a lot more than that, so we can always bring in more life and make this stuff so much more detailed and just crazy stuff happening throughout here, and make this farmland region just look honestly really spectacular. So that's the goal for today. Let me get some bushes planted around this area so we can get those ones added in here, and we'll be moving forwards. I came through here and updated the map for our new farming region that we added in, and oh my gosh, it is looking so freaking cool on here on the map now. It just looks so much more substantial. We have a farmland region that goes from here all the way over to here, and that's so crazy that we've completely customized and created this entire area, let alone the rest of this entire place as well. Coming back over here though, I have added a bunch of those bushes like I was talking about, and they're looking pretty dandy throughout most of the world. There's a few areas, and we're stuck inside a wheat field. There's a few areas where I have still left them out and I still have things to do. Like we have this little strip right along here that I don't know quite what I want to do with that yet. It's not wide enough to throw like a building or something in here, but potentially like a well. I don't know. Let me know down in the comments below what you guys think we could throw into this little vicinity right over here. However, for the next part of what I want to work on is we're going to be throwing in a few beehives. And did I get the... I'm missing some blocks real quick. Let me go grab those real fast. The important part of the beehive, if we can fly. Ooh, oh, barely made that one. Ah, yes, the most important part of our beehive, red mushroom blocks. Well, not quite the red mushroom block, but the mushroom block. You guys will see why here in just a second. I was thinking it'd be really cool if we made this area back here a bit more unique. I was working on some other things in between as well. And what I was thinking is we could come in here. Don't need that one. I need those guys. What I want to do is basically, if you throw a composter right here, be very careful with this part. Shift click to throw one of these guys on top, because otherwise the composter will actually eat it. But if you come in here and take all of these just like so, it creates this kind of cool like pixelated texture that's very plain and bland, and it almost reminded me of a beehive. So then if we come around here and surround it with some oak trap doors, very simple beehive design, do that and then place that guy on top, and it kind of looks like a beehive back in here. I was thinking if we dot a few of those around in this area, we can make this pretty cool, make it very lush with a bunch of flowers and just some stuff like that. I felt like it was a kind of an interesting thing we could throw into this vicinity. I was thinking a tree, but I was like, you know what? It'd probably be better if we just like mix it up and actually threw something more colorful and something more lifelike in here. So if we do like 1, 2, maybe we take you, bring you to right there. I'm just thinking about where we can plant all these ones in. Something like this would probably be good. We don't need to stretch them out too far this way. Maybe we can bring in a small like fence right here to keep all the kids from jumping into where all the bees are and everything like that. I don't know. It might work out. Coming back over into our beehives area, I think this is looking pretty freaking great with the flowers, everything, everywhere, and all of that good stuff. One thing I did want to do is dot a bit of coarse dirt into here where we've added in the path blocks, just to add that variety into our pathway, so it's not just pure path blocks stretching throughout here. But I think this would be a very, like, not often treaded path. I don't really know what the proper word for it would be. Somewhere where people don't go quite often, I guess, because, you know, the bees are kind of doing their own things, and the beekeeper would only come in when they need to, like, harvest stuff or take care of something. So I figured we could leave it pretty wide open. And then what I was thinking was over off in this direction, because obviously we have a road coming up down in here. It's mostly to get access to this field, but it also does kind of stretch off into this little area over here. And I was thinking we could make some sort of a small lean-to structure against the border of our castle, of our city walls here, so that we could have somewhere for the beekeeper to, like, store stuff, maybe get the honey. Like, the honey can go into barrels over here, or however the heck they're dealing with it. So I was thinking we could literally just bring in some, like, spruce fence, bring you up, and probably go to 3 high on both sides, and then bring it down a half slab at a time or something like that. So we do, like, bam, and bam, and bam, and then just take this straight across to here. I think that could be pretty good for it. And so I'm going to get this stuff in here and do a little bit more detail around this area, and I'll be back. All right, I know. I couldn't help it. I had to throw a tree in here. We went for a smaller oak tree design, and I really like how this one turned out. I think it's really setting this area up well for success and looking pretty freaking sweet. Like, this right here just feels so much more complete. With that guy over there, we got all of the beehives, and well, I guess they'd be like a nest or something. I guess a hive. Yeah, that makes sense right there. We got all of our beehives in here looking pretty freaking fantastic. And over here, there's this little setup going on, which is pretty great as well. It's very simple, but it's meant to be very simple. I just want to add in some barrels here where they can place in some honey. Also gives us some quick storage if we need it, if we're running through this area and just want to dump a bunch of rotten flesh that we randomly have on us or something like that. All right, though, next thing that I want to be working on throughout this area is bringing in a heck of a lot of these guys. We have so many flowers that we can bring into this world, and I really would love to be able to do that. So what we're going to be doing is basically running around, spamming the heck out of these guys, just bringing in a lot more life and color and just different types of stuff going on throughout these areas. I don't have a whole lot of cornflowers on me, but I do also have some ferns that we can bone meal up and add some variation to the grass and everything like that around here. Again, I'm still going to skip this spot since I'm looking for a few ideas for that one. But beyond that, we're basically just going to come through here and add in a bunch of flowers throughout and just make this area feel a lot more alive. Especially these areas right here where it's very like wooded and we have a big old tree that eventually I do hope to come back in here and add a custom tree. But I figured it would be pretty freaking great if we came in through here and just bone mealed up some of the grass to make it feel a bit thicker when you're walking through here, so that the path, I know we have the roadway here symbolizing our pathway, but this will very much, like that being all dense and everything makes it like, oh wait, we don't want to walk through there. There is a lot of stuff going on in there. We do not want to have to walk through that. So kind of just growing up the grass like that really helps, like, keep us moving along the pathway to explore the rest of the farmland region. Y'all might have been seeing some campfires and things pop up around the world here. And oh my gosh, I thought they looked super freaking sweet adding them all over the world. But the more I've been adding them in here, the more the world has started to just chunk down on frames. Like right there, we're at like 100 frames. And we look over towards the city, you can see that in the upper right corner, it drops down to 30 frames for a second there, which that's just not okay. I think we're going to have to be holding off on campfires here until Mojang can actually optimize an update before pushing it out. I do love a lot of what we got in the Village and Pillage update, but oh my gosh, I feel like half of it is not usable because of how much additional lag it causes in your own world, which is a huge bummer to hear. But you know, we're going to be moving forwards beyond that. What I've been working on over here is mostly in this smaller area here. So we have this fallen down tree there, and we got the bit of the remains of it, a few bushes around it. It's not something that you would really see from the pathway, and this one is more geared towards when you're flying over the top. I figured that would be kind of cool to have a few hidden details back in here, so either the people who do venture back into here to explore the world can find those, or, you know, if we're randomly flying around from above, it doesn't look like a bare spot. Then we got a few little things dotted back down in here. I'm thinking I want to just go like a bam, and we can do like one right there. That'll be totally fine. What I'm going to work on next is bringing in a few more of those smaller custom oak trees. I want to throw one in right back in this vicinity. I don't want to make them too tall so that they're dwarfing the city walls. I want the city walls to still be able to see over the top of everything. So I'll bring in another one about that height right there. And then I do have a larger one that I want to build coming out in this direction right here. And we got that stump right there for 2 trees. And then a 3rd tree is going to be coming up. You can kind of see the stump right there. I want to do one up there that like is hanging over the pathway. So I think that'll be a really fun one to do. I'm going to get those first 2 done, and then we'll probably build up this 3rd one here together. And now we have 2 more custom trees in this vicinity over here, and it's starting to look pretty freaking awesome. I think once we get the shulker camp here cleaned up, this tree is going to look even better. I love the idea of it kind of hanging over the roadway here, which I think is just absolutely awesome. This side we can't see as great of a view because, you know, all the shulkers are blocking it, but I think it's looking pretty good. It's feeling a bit too triangular to me, like kind of there. We have a bit of a triangle going on, so I might mess with it a bit more to see if we can't smooth that out a bit more than it is right now. But the trunk goes at an angle, so I tried making the tree a bit more angular, so that was a bit rough to do. Then we got this guy back here, which is very big and very bushy, and it's meant to look pretty good from far away, and I think it does that. From over here on the road where we can barely see it, I think it did a pretty good job of kind of being back in here. I think it does what it's meant to do and basically just look like a cool custom tree up against our big wall here, while not being too overbearing and being like, oh my gosh, I have to go check out that tree. That tree looks so freaking cool. I was gonna say it's time to start the next tree project, but our night is setting on us here, so I'm gonna sleep real fast and we'll get on over to that new tree. Ah, much better. The sun is at the opposite side of the sky now, and that's just gonna be awesome for what we want to do here. So this one, that's not an axe. This one, as I mentioned, I do want to bring in a few more bits of extra detail to this thing. So we're going to be using a bit of a tree format where we bring it around to the edge and having this one overhang a bit more, similar to how I did that guy right there. But I think we can do an even better job with it. So if we take you and go like bam, and then this one, we're actually going to bring him out just pretty crazy far to the side. I want like the main part of the trunk actually mostly coming out to the side. So I was thinking that could actually be the top right there, and then we get like you, and then we can take this one and do like, I actually want to get rid of that block, and if we can get that guy down there, we can get rid of that one, and then bring you out over here. And this is going to be like a really crazy angular tree, and maybe we actually bring you up one more, and then we can bring another bit of a branch structure right out here, and then we got those ones in. And then from down on this side, I like that top of the tree being right there. I want to have just a few branches sticking back out this way. So nothing too crazy, but maybe we can do like one like right like this. Let's take you over to right here. And that should be pretty good. And let's take a look at what this weird shape is going to be looking like down here below. It's going to look pretty weird until we get fences and leaves on there. But I think for the most part, that'll actually do it for me, because then we can come in here, bring you down like that. We get another little bit of a branch hanging there, get you going out this way, then we can get like a super small branch coming out right here, and then we can take this guy and throw like another branch right over into there, and that should be good for getting enough like variety to all of our branches. Can we make that parkour professional? Then we could do like you maybe coming out to right there to help bring in that and be a bit more full. But we got that rough design for a tree here. I think this one actually should be pretty good. I've been thinking after we get this tree done here, though, is that's kind of pretty much what I had planned for decorating the farming area out for now. I think I could probably spend hours in here building trees, but after a while, it's like, how much help does that actually do for the region? Like, end goal, yeah, I would love to have more custom trees in here, but I think that'd be better for like a stream project when we eventually get those rolling here again soon, hopefully. Hopefully. But yeah, so what I want to do here is basically get this guy set up here, and then we can jump over and do a bit more work in the caves today, where last time, or 2 episodes back now, I think we started our cave build project where we're making the custom, and that's where exactly where I wanted that bush. We're making the custom cave project where we're doing like a whole cave system that's meant to be like a Dwemer Ruins type thing from Skyrim, where I wanted to get a bunch of the Patreon heads in and everything like that down in there. So I've been thinking that I want to try and focus on that a bit more moving forwards, because I would love to be able to get all of those heads placed in there by the time the World Tour comes out, which is coming up very shortly. This is episode 198. So we have this episode and next episode, and I am about 100 something Patreon heads behind right now. So those things would take me a few hours at least to get placed in there. So I'd love to at least have the cave in, and I want to try and, as a big thank you to everybody, I feel like I owe it to people to try and get those heads decorated in there. So we'll see. You might have to skip on a video next week or something and push the tour back just slightly and see if I can't get all those heads in there, but we'll see about that one. Now with everything packed up and ready to go to get out of here, it is looking a heck of a lot better, and we can just quickly bone meal up a few of these spots to bring in that more lush grassy feeling that we had talked about before. Get rid of the blue guy through here just because we want to make sure that we stick with these color patterns. I didn't really talk about this too much when adding in all the flowers around this region, but what I absolutely love to do is come in here and add patches of flowers. So we have a lot of our red ones, we have a lot of the yellow ones right in here, and then you can see back here we have a lot of our yellow ones again. And if we basically just left like the red and the blue in here as well, it would look very chaotic and very hectic and just like a lot of stuff is going on. Whereas right now, leaving just this one color of the flower in there can actually help like make things feel a bit more smoother while still having a bunch of color all over, because like we have these ones right here where there's not too many flowers and it's okay to have very scattered and variety of colors and everything. But when you get into the more denser regions, it looks a little weird to have a bunch of different ones in here. So like even if you look at the flower forest inside of Minecraft, as cool as they look very, very hectic. So I like making them a lot more smoother, kind of like that right there, just combining maybe one or two different colors of flowers. And that'll, for me, that does a lot better of a job. Now this guy up here, this tree is actually looking pretty freaking cool. And one thing I would actually love to do right here is add in like another branch kind of hanging off right down here that we can do like right there, and then we can hang a lantern off of. I was thinking that as we were walking away here, and I was like, you know what, I gotta bring one of those in. Do we have them? We do have some lanterns. I think that'll really help this area just feel so much cooler than it is currently. And so if we take you and then just grab our lantern and hang it right there, I think that is pretty freaking awesome. With our little bench here, the lanterns, you can kind of walk through, light your way to get out to our final field up here. And, oh man, that is just perfect. I really, really am happy with this area. Now, let's do a quick fly up here to the top of our tower. Take one final look at this one before we head underground for the rest of the episode. It's looking pretty fantastic. I do gotta say, having this area with now the beehives over there, we got a custom tree, fallen tree, custom tree, and one more right there. We've done a lot of work up into this area today, which is just absolutely awesome. I do have some plans for that area over there, but until we get the terraforming done for the base of that tower right there, I don't want to touch it for now because they could completely alter that. Was I just under the custom terrain, clearing out the entire potato and carrot farm to replant it by myself because it's definitely an automated farm? The world may never know. And now back here in our cave base, I am super ready to get some new stuff rolling in here. We did a lot of work last time. We got a lot of stuff finished up and got it all the way pretty much down to roughly this point where we hit all this andesite is kind of where we stopped. And part of me is just screaming right now saying gather up all of this andesite and rebuild it out with stone. And I think we might do that here in just a second. But what I would love to be able to do today is get ourselves down to like this torch right past the mushrooms. I think it'd be a good idea for where we can get the stuff out to, just to get a bit of work beyond like what we have right here or what we have all the way up there, just so we can get a bit more work running throughout here. Now I was thinking we bring it out into an opening here, do some water features or something like that, and have it wash away down here. And then we can have this open up into that custom cave area that's supposed to be like the Dwemer ruins. So this can kind of be a bit more structured in here. Maybe we'll have the water coming down from up there or something. And then we'll kind of go with one of those Skyrim vibes of follow the water going down. And then if we take out all of the andesite, and this might lead us into something farther down here as well, which could be kind of a cool way of guiding ourselves throughout the cave system. So if we have a bunch of winding cave networks, and then the way to get through it is to follow the water, I thought that'd be a pretty cool idea. So I'm going to do a bit of clearing work, replacing work, gathering up as much andesite as I can, because I, minus the 34 that we picked up here, I only had 17 to my name. And by 17 to my name, I definitely meant 5. I've decided that instead of introducing that water mechanic of follow the water to get to the base, we would start introducing that here now, basically following it until it gets to a point where it disappears. So I figured right here we could introduce the water, having it come around this corner right there. And what I'm thinking is we can actually turn this into a... Yeah, that did screw it up. Dang it. Okay, let's just get rid of you. Place that back in there. And we can probably just throw on a cobblestone slab right there. Basically, the water's going to come down here just very, very quickly, and then off into that direction disappear. But it's basically starting that idea of directing the person to follow a water source until we get down to a point down here where eventually it will just completely disappear. Or maybe this same water source will resurface again later, or a different water source, because as this one disappears into nothing, it will have to resurface at some point. It has to continue flowing down. Otherwise, where the heck is it going? And it would just fill up everything that we are at right here. This part right here where it's kind of overhanging a bit further really inspired me to, over here, I actually want to do a very, very similar thing. So what I was thinking was we could come through right here and then take in a full stone block and then just do something like this. And basically this is allowing us to very, very easily just have this wall overhang a bit further and start to close out this cavern. So it's not quite so wide open right here as we introduce the water source. We do want to have a higher shelf and ceiling to it, but overall it doesn't need to be crazy large. Like, it doesn't have to be super crazy wide open. So I was thinking we could go something kind of like this and introduce that right there. Maybe bring you back down in here like there, and then we could potentially bring this up, do a stone slab and do like a stone stair, and then kind of wind our way down to here. I think from down below that's looking pretty dang cool. I do think we need to take a look at it from up above. The way to get up and down is basically going to be going right throughout here. I'm thinking on this guy we throw a small stone slab in. It's supposed to be very, very precarious, like very much like you can either just quickly jump down the waterfall and get your way out of here if you're just running throughout this area, or if you need to come back up, you can kind of follow your way back up to the top. I am throwing in these slabs here to mob proof this lower area so that we don't have to worry about lighting too much down here. And I think that's totally okay. And maybe on this one, instead of doing that guy, we can actually do a stair. So I don't really like those stairs being back to back though. And yeah, I think from up here looking down into this section right now, with at least with all the torches everywhere in it, I do want to modify the torches and make it a bit darker and more ominous and atmospheric down here. But that obviously right there is way too dark. So maybe we bring in a lantern and hang him off of the ceiling like right up there or something. We could do that here in just a quick sec. But yeah, this is looking pretty dang cool so far. This is starting to feel particularly moody. That kind of moody mood that makes you mood. No, but actually though, I really am happy with this one. I love this water feature that we added in right here. Not quite sure about that lower area, but we're going to leave it for now. Beyond that, I've come up here and basically started bringing ourselves back down in this direction. Got all the way up to our mushrooms, luckily, which is kind of our end goal for this part here, because, you know, it's a bit further to get down into there. We're not going to be able to touch that at all today. So I've got a lot of this like natural messed up cave roof going on in here, and I want to propose an idea to you all before we end this one off. Should we start introducing mushrooms and like vines and greenery stuff throughout this entire area? Because I feel like that could totally change the atmosphere that we have working through here. Because we started incorporating the greenery, we'd have to figure out some way to incorporate dirt and coarse dirt and stuff like that, so we can plant the grass and leaves and whatnot on the base. But we could use vines as well. So let me know down in the comments below what y'all think on that one. I think that's a really good point where we can end this one off on. Next episode is going to be our last episode of actually building stuff before we hit that episode 200 world tour. So super hyped up for that one. I think, however, I am going to call it here for today's episode. I might try and get a bit more work done on our cave system before we come back after this one, just so I can get us all the way down there and we can actually start doing some real work for this thing. So thank you all so much for watching. Please hit that like button if you did enjoy. Subscribe if you are new, and I will catch you on the flip side.